Hi everybody, welcome to Finding the Best ETFs. My name's Russell Markham. I'm the Director of Education for VectorVest Australia, and what a pleasure it is today. I'm going to take you on an amazing journey. I spent quite a few hours preparing for this, using the power of the VectorVest tools. It was absolutely amazing what I came across. So hot off the press, I'm going to share with you this latest technique. Now, just before I get going today, I'm just going to move myself out of the way here just for a second. And I just need to let you know there's our license numbers, and please also refer to us per our financial services guide, all right, per our webpage. In addition, the next slide I want to show you here, please note any advice provided today is general advice only, okay? I'm not licensed to give personal advice. Please do speak to your financial advisor for personal advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Forecasts and backtests used or discussed in this presentation are intended as guide only, and actual results may be affected by known or unknown risks and uncertainties, and therefore may differ materially from the results ultimately achieved. Okay, with that said, let's hop into it. So the first thing I wanted to share with you here today, and that is we track a lot of ETFs in VectorVest each and every day. So you can see over here, for example, Australia 218, US just over 1700, 1771, Canada 828, Europe 400, UK 457. So total there of just under 3,700 ETFs. So plenty of ETFs, and we're going to take you with this journey using VectorVest today across these countries here today, and we're going to pick out some of the hottest moving ETFs out there. All right, so how about that? Pretty exciting. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to introduce you, don't worry, not too much theory here, just two topics, or should I say two bits of theory today. In VectorVest, we have an indicator called relative timing. All right, it's on a scale of 0 to 2, and it's looking at momentum taking place. All right, so I won't go into too much detail. I'll bring this up shortly because it's absolutely key for our ETF analysis. The next one I want to introduce you to is this nice one here, Comfort Index. Just like the name implies, again, it's on a scale of 0 to 2, and where it's above 1 and rising consistently, it just tells us that in this case the ETF is fairly non-volatile. So if I can get ETFs that are, if I go back a tad here, ETFs that are effectively rising with the technicals, in addition to being smooth, so not only coming up in price but being consistent, that's what I'm after. All right, so I'm going to show you this in pictures shortly. All right, so let's get into it. So here we are for Australia. We track just over 200 ETFs. Let's have a look at the first cab off the rank, so to speak. So let's delve into Australia. So this is what we're looking for. All right. So here I want my relative timing on a scale of 0 to 2. This is all within the VectorVest software, but I want the relative timing to be above 1, and I want my comfort index to also be above 1. So here in this example here, fuel.ax, it's an energy ETF. Relative timing breaks above 1 here. The CI breaks above 1 here. And as such, the momentum carries it up. All right, so here, over 30-odd% returns. Okay, I'm going to show you just how quick and easy it is to find every day in the system. Next one here, ZYUS. All right. So it's an S&P 500 ETF listed in Australia, so it tracks the S&P 500, but it's listed on the ASX. You can buy it here in Australia, ZYUS. And here we are, relative timing breaks above 1, and the CI, the comfort index score, it's broken above 1, and it's holding above 1. Well, that gives us confidence, and it's done 14% since November last year. All right, see the pattern here, how quick and easy it is to do. VTS, it's a Vanguard ETF, as you can see there. CI breaks above 1 along with RT being above 1. That's a really good sign when you're seeing the technicals holding steady, but CI's just come to the party. That's often a very good sign. And you can see here, that was in February of last year. And then look what happened. The technicals broke down. Even though CI is still well above 1, the technicals broke below 1, so at that point that would have triggered a warning for you to be careful, and it did 20-odd%. So you get the hang of it. QHAL. Here we are. It did 18%. There we go. CI above 1, technicals, and then it breaks below 1 on the technicals there. Next one here, VESG. You might want to jot a couple of these ticker codes down and see what you think. And again, please, I cannot give you any personal advice. It's just how I use the VectorVest tools. I thought this technique that I'm sharing with you today here is quite groundbreaking. You know, I looked at different ways of analyzing and stress testing the ETFs, and I think this one here stacks up incredibly well over the years. All right, so here we go again. CI breaks above 1, technicals above 1. Look at the run on this one here, and then it breaks down here, and that's your warning, right? So if I click on this one here, it's 25%. Next one here in Australia, WXOZ. All right, and you can see the, and again, you know, I'm not going to get too hung up on exactly what they do. You can find all that out within the VectorVest system if you choose, or do your own research to work out exactly what they do. I'm purely looking for momentum. And here in this ETF WXOZ, the technicals are above 1. Your CI, your comfort index, breaks above 1, and it runs all the way until the breakdown here for a nice 17 odd %. So you might be saying to yourself, well, okay, it's all very well. You show me some pretty explosive ETFs, but you know, Russell, where do you find these? You know, where would you find these in VectorVest? And let's do this. Let's bring up. Sorry, I've just got to turn my head here just to load this up. And what I'll do here is I'm going to load up VectorVest. And I'll move myself to the side here. So within VectorVest, on the Viewers tab here, you can go down to the ETF viewer for Australia in this example, right? So you can see we're currently tracking 218. And what I do in VectorVest is I say to VectorVest, sort the ETFs by relative timing times CI, just like what we've seen on the graphs, RT times CI. And then from here, so now I know I'm getting the best combinations of the short-term price momentum along with the you know, smoothness, the resilience, I guess you could call it, of those ETFs. And if I grab a handful here and graph them, then what I'm doing on my graph is I'm just making sure that I have my RT and my CI. So here's fuel, and I go, okay. So at that point in time, you would have seen it on the graph. You would have seen it breaking, the RT breaking above 1 there along with the CI. So it's all very well going back in hindsight, but you could have gone back at that time and seen that exactly. But right now, this is still the top RT times CI ETF. So right now, as it stands, this is above 1, this is above 1. So it's telling me that the momentum is still in my favor for fuel. See how easy it is to do? And so here I am as of current date. CI coming up nicely. That's always very positive. Look at this. Very interesting, this one here. It's just broken out. So there we go. There's the start of another one potentially, right? So again, speak to your financial professional. I can't give you personal advice. I can't tell you whether this is suitable for you or not. But from a general perspective here, general advice perspective, I'm seeing it from a technical perspective. Technicals are lifting up. That's what I want to see. Breaking above 1. And look at that, the CI holding above 1. It'll be interesting to keep my eye on this. So there was that entry point at 8.85. You know, even if you missed that and only saw 2 or 3 days later, it doesn't matter because it's still stacking up. So it's gone from that entry point of $8.85 and it's currently sitting at $8.91. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how it continues to progress. All right, so I'll just close out of there. So in VectorVest, we have an ETF viewer, and we have it for all the other countries that we're going to cover today as well for our ETFs. All right, so just put that in there, just to remind me to show you that. Now, there's something else I wanted to also bring to your attention from an ETF perspective in Australia. And we have what we call, depends on different people give it different names, but the general name out there, the consensus is it's an inverse ETF or a contra ETF. It does contrary to what an ETF typically does. So typically when you buy an ETF, the industry or sector or commodity, whatever it is that it's the underlying trend that it's tracking, if that underlying trend, so let's say it's a gold ETF, if gold spot prices are coming up, then you'd expect that ETF on average to lift up because it's investing into gold and gold-related stocks, right? An inverse ETF, or contra ETF as we call them at VectorVest here, a contra ETF will do the inverse. Now typically contra ETFs do the inverse of the market. So the market's going up, the contras go down, and when the market goes down, the contras typically go up. So you can see here in Australia here, I'm noting 4 here, Bear, BBOZ, BBUS, and SNAS. And I'll just move myself out here. And you can see that since the start of the year, 4th of January, right through until the 6th of May, look at those contra ETFs go. They're really rocketing up as the market has continued to fade away. So instead of, sort of cursing a falling market, it's a opportunity, should you choose, to consider contra ETFs. So what I've done here on the graph here is I've put in a benchmark using VectorVest just to show you how it's been stacking up. So here's the AXJO, which tracks the ASX 200. So you can see the ASX 200 over the last month has pretty much been trending down. We're in a bit of a bear market at the moment. And you can see, look at the contras as they race away. And the top one there is this one here, SNAS. If I put it on there, SNAS. Now, SNAS does the inverse of the NASDAQ 100 in America. We know what's happening with big NASDAQ 100 companies like Facebook and Google and a few like that. They're under pressure and they've been falling in price. And those falling prices play right into the hands of this contra ETF because it's betting on the inverse. Now, for the average investor out there, certainly from my experience, a lot of investors don't like shorting stocks. Right? So you don't like betting on the fact that those stocks are going to fall down in price. Well, rather than shorting a stock, you could consider, and again, please, not personal advice, speak to a financial professional, but a inverse ETF like this does it all for you, and you just simply buy it long like you would on the ASX. And again, you need to check with your advisor as to whether that's suitable for you. All right, so here are those contra ETFs, and what I did is I went and picked on a few of them just to show you how they're performing. So here's Bear, and you can see over the last month or two, look at that, RT comes above 1, CI goes above 1, and it goes for a nice run. There's that technique again. All right, BBOZ, it's another contra ETF, there it is. It breaks above 1 there with the CI, and it goes for another run. And this contra ETF, SNAS, the top performer at the moment. If I pull that back just a tad bit more, here it breaks above 1 there, and it's gone for a nice little run since 387 up to 487. So a very impressive run. And BBUS, here we are, breaks above 1 there. Let's see, yep, just above 1. Now, CI is not above 1 at this point. All right, so this one here, I might sort of wait a bit more. So you do need to just double check. You see this CI as well. That's why it wasn't making my initial lists. Notice that's also below 1 at 0.48 for SNAS. BBOZ also below 1. And also, if you go back here for Bear, the CI is also below 1. Why is that? Well, the market had been running pretty hot for quite some time. You can see that the trend was falling away as the market was going up. And as a result, your CI indicator, which is looking at the consistency, I guess, of that trend, it was struggling to break above 1 because that trend has been quite consistently awful. All right, it's only now that it's recently starting to turn around. So just, just be aware of that. It won't fit my typical pattern of looking for this, where this is above 1 and that's above 1. Okay, so this is a little bit of an extra I wanted to throw in and share there with you. So those are the contras, all right, or inverse ETFs. Okay, so just to sum that up in the slides. All right, so that concludes Australia. Let's now move into the US. All right, so we currently track over 1,700 ETFs there in America. Now let's dig in a bit further. America is a phenomenal market analyzed by Australia because there's just so much. America's effectively got as many ETFs as what we've got stocks in Australia. Just shy of it. All right. So using the same technique again, look at this. This is phenomenal. NRGU, 3 January 2022. RT breaks above 1. The CI indicator here is holding above 1. and it gives you 105% from that point there using these indicators, right, the in and outs. Look at this. No sooner had it dipped just below 1. If I move that, you'd see, but it did just dip below 1. It then shot back up again. So there was your next entry opportunity, and it's currently up over 25% and counting. Right, so this one's been a phenomenal opportunity. The next one here, UNL. Want to jot some of these down. UNL, what do you think of this one? Here we are. RT breaks above 1, CI above 1, and it's been going ever since February this year, and up over 115% and counting. Moving on a bit more, IVV. It's quite a well-known one there in the US. And there's IVV, and CI breaks above 1 with the technicals holding above 1. Very nice to see. And a quick 20-odd% based on those technical indicators there. I wanted to also just give you a snapshot within the VectorVest system, and I've just taken a screenshot within the system. You can look at all these different types of ETFs within the VectorVest system. So we've got 2 times leveraged, 3 times leveraged, we've got the regular ETFs, and then you've got the contra, the inverse ETFs, and then we track all these other different ones in here as well. So you can see it's a massive market in the ETF space in the US. Just plenty. You're absolutely spoiled for choice. Now the problem with a lot of investors is if you are spoiled for choice, where do you begin? You know, do I look at the 2 times leverage? I don't like leverage, so I'm not going to go into leverage. So for example, well then what else do I look for? You know, do I look for a thematic, a theme-based ETF? You know, do I look at a market tracker like the Russell 2000, or do I look for a commodity like gold? What do I do? And this is where VectorVest comes in to help. So I can just simply go through the different types of ETFs and start looking for opportunities. So for example here, 2 times leveraged ETFs, and I can then start sorting them by RT times CI. Remember what we did? So I'll just give you an example of this is only a handful of them. You know, you can see it's 54. I can't include all of them. Just a handful of them. Here's the 3 times leveraged ETFs. All right, those were the contras. Those are the 3 times inverse. Just a handful to show you. Okay. So let's take this example. The 2 times leveraged ETFs. Now these are inverse ETFs. What's happening in America at the moment? Right. What happened last night on the US market? Got heavily sold down again. All right, so the US market's it's been fairly turbulent with a fairly strong downtrend in play currently. Now, for those of you watching the recording, this is what's the date today? The 10th. Is the 10th? Just check my calendar there. 10th of May. Time flies. As of 10 May, so 9th of May, the market was fairly heavily sold down again in the US. So as a result, what do you think the contras are going to be doing? Yep, you got it. Falling market. You should get that contrary relationship, the inverse relationship. So the contras are flying at the moment in the US, and here's just a handful of them. So what I did here is I just grabbed the top 5. I said to VectorVest, tell me what have the top 5 done since the start of January? Yep, there they are, done 28-odd%. Not all of them worked out. This one here, BZQ, fell 30%, but was more than offset by the others. You know, look at that CLDS up a whopping 78%. All right. What about 3 times leveraged contra ETFs if you like to take on a bit of risk, right? So this is more leverage. Please do speak to your advisor. I can't tell you if this is suitable for you or not, but you can see the relationship of the 3 times, and I grabbed the top 10 just to show you just the pure choice that you have. You know, 50-odd% returns like that. LABD up 172, but DSLVF did fall 18. All right, well, here are the contra ETFs in the US, and I'll just show you them here. So benchmarked against the SPY, which is the S&P 500. So you can see the S&P 500 has really been under a lot of pressure over the last month. And look at the contras racing away, but your standout performers, LABD. LABD is your top performer there. And let's see if I bring in VectorVest here. So I'm in America now, VectorVest 7 real time. This is the US market here. You can see there's the flag for the US, and I'll bring in LABD. All right, so you know, if you do take a trial of VectorVest or you subscribe, you get access to all these countries. So everything you're seeing here, you get access to, and So if Australia's not working, well, look at America, look at Europe, look at Canada. There's always an opportunity out there. And if I look at LABD, the 3-time contra, look at that technique I was showing you here. It's stacking up really well for this contra. CI breaks above 1 here, and the technicals are holding above 1, but it did dip, came up, sort of bounced a bit. That's marginal there. So there was an opportunity for a little bit of a run, not much. Then it sort of reset itself, and here it really took off as the market faded away in recent weeks. And look at that, it's off to the races. $41 up to 79, so almost up 100% since when was it? 18 days ago. So in the last 18 days, since the 13th of April, it's off to the races. And again, I'm hoping that you see what I mean by the technique that I'm looking at. It's everything that I've been teaching before, right? Showing you, showcasing here. Technicals above 1, the CI above 1. So here are CI above 1, technicals above 1. There's that pattern developing itself yet again. So I'm quite interested in this pattern I've discovered using VectorVest. All right, so and again, I've just provided some more screenshots. These are contra ETFs in the US. They use no leverage. Right, so these aren't leveraged at all, and you can see those ones since the start of April are up 15-odd%. All right, look at that one there. You might want to jot that one and have a look at it. TTT. If I hopped into VectorVest very quickly here, and that one in, it's changed ticker code. What was that? TTT, triple T. Here it is. All right, so again, doesn't fall into my pure category here. Not a lot of those contra ETFs won't, because they have been beaten up for quite some time. But here the technicals, if I go back a tad in time, the technicals break above 1 here. At 33, it's now over $60. But ideally, what I want is I want the technicals lining up with a CI above 1. So that's why the contras are just slightly more different, okay? Because they're slightly different because, of course, they've come off heavy decline because they're doing the inverse of the market. All right, moving on. So I just benchmarked them here, and you can see just how they have performed. These triple T on the non-leveraged. Right, next country, Canada. All right, so let's go do the same whirlwind tour again. And just before I leave America, I did need to jump in and just show you. All right, so under viewers here and under ETF viewer, just like it did for Australia. So sorted by RT times CI. I'll just auto fit, make this all nice and neat for you to see. All right, and so if you're looking for current opportunities, this is what I do. I get into RT times CI. I graph the first handful. I'm just going to graph the first few ETFs here, zoom it in to more applicable time periods. I'll take all this off just to clean it up, just to make it a little bit easier to see. And away I go. All right, so here we are. RT breaks above 1, and yep, CI is above 1. All right, I'll just take it off, make it easier for you. You can see it's above 1. So there was an entry point, right? So what was the price there? Price there at 41, and now the price is at 79. Right, so you saw that in the previous ones. If you're seeing a lot of gaps like this, I don't like that. It's telling me there's not a lot of liquidity. So I'll move on those. I want more data than that. So I keep moving along, and I go, okay, this one's got plenty of data. Here we go. Technicals above 1. CI, no, not quite above 1. There, breaks above 1. Aha, that's above 1. That's above 1. Price at 37. Now it's up at 47. All right, so it's that technique over and over again. Pull this one back a tad here. Here we go. Technicals breaking above 1. CI well above 1, and it's been holding for quite some time. $40 odd. It's now at $60 odd. All right, so there it is. I'm just hopping into viewers and going to ETF viewer, sorting them by RT times CI, and away I went. Okay, let's minimize here. Canada, right? So the whirlwind tour here. Canada. Let's see what we do here. Over 800 ETFs, right? So over 800 ETFs. So same technique again. I'm jumping into Canada. I'm sorting my ETF viewer by RT times CI, and then I'm graphing to find the opportunities. HEU was one that, there it is. RT broke above 1, the CI breaks above 1. It's a lot of these ETFs are energy ETFs, as you can imagine with what's going on globally at the moment, and they are running hard at the moment. And you can see it's up 135% and counting. There's been no exit point yet, all right, because these have not, either one of these, it's either one of these breaks below 1, I'm cautious, right? Moving on, right, HUN, HUN, all right, so, again, above 1, up it goes, and 75% and counting. All right, I must admit, of all the countries I've been analyzing the ETFs currently, Canada jumps out the most. It just absolutely jumps out. The ETFs are really having a strong run at the moment, and a lot of them are the energy ETFs. HNU, natural gas, all right, so this one here, up 165% and counting. Phenomenal. Technicals break above 1 there, CI is well above 1, away it goes. All right, there's another one here, HXE, Horizon Energy, it looks like, 100% returns, same deal, same patterns. All right, 9-point energy. So the ETF, energy ETFs are going ballistic at the moment from what I can see. So you can see, same deal, right? I've just screenshotted this just to speed up the presentation, but I've gone to the Viewers tab, I've gone to ETFs, I've sorted by RT times CI, and here they all are. Right, now I did that as of 1 April, for example, just to show you if you were back on 1 April, these would have been the ones that would have popped up. And just taking the first couple here, first 10, and running them through until the 6th of May, up 18% with some absolute massive returns there for the first couple there. All right, here's a contra ETF in Canada. So you might be interested in an example for a contra ETF in Canada. So despite the energy ETFs boosting up, the contra ETF to the market, in this case here, has gone up very nicely too. So you can see it's gone from, when was that, back in April, around about $9 to just over $11 odd. All right, so 26% returns since April. UK. All right, so let's jump into the UK now. So we're doing a global sort of tour at the moment. Let's jump into the UK, same deal. I've gone to viewers, I've gone to ETF viewer, I've sorted by RT times CI, and I did this as of 1 April just to demonstrate. And you can see here, look at that, a whopping 24% on those ETFs currently. All right, so in the UK we track over 450 ETFs. And what I want to do here is I want to show you the same technique again. So all I've done here is I've gone by RT times CI as of current date to identify the current opportunity. So I can see here, and if you'd run VectorVest on that date, on the 16th of Feb, you would have picked this up, where the CI was above 1 and the technicals were above 1. And you can see how this one's played out. It's still in play from a technical perspective from what we can see. All right, so it's up 100% and counting. Here's one that's still stacking up. It's up over 50% returns. It's really nice and smooth, this one. Technicals fired up, and the CI, and I like the look of this because the technicals and the CI are just continuing to really power on nicely. All right, AIGE.L for London, listed in London here. I'm not so keen when I see this, when I see the CI sort of fading a bit. Look, it is still well above 1, so there's no problem here. Ideally, I'd like to see it moving up, but still the rules are it's above 1, and the technicals are above 1. There was an entry point, 70%. All right, still not an exit point. It's now these are sort of firing up again. All right, so in the UK, there it is, RT times CI, and that's the one you saw before, just to show you there again. Okay. The last one I want to cover is Europe. All right, so Europe we've got here. We track over 400 ETFs in Europe, and if I do this. Same deal again, all right, so in we come, CRB, all right, for Europe here, there was the signal there, technicals above 1, CI above 1, 55%. Let's see this one here, heat, it's another energy ETF, there's a strong story again. Just be careful, typically if you see a certain theme, a thematic type theme taking place, so it's energy, you know, these good times cannot last forever. You can't just keep going up indefinitely like that. So you do need to be careful. Have your wits about you. You know, if you start to see energy prices falling away, you've got to be careful. These will flow through into the ETF. So just a word of caution on that. But while it continues, there are heat, certainly producing a lot of heat on the returns, 80%. Great returns there. CWE. What's this? Another energy player. 48% returns. Great entry point there. EXXY, iShares. 40%. Right, same patterns again. See that? Time again. So I'm going to jump into VectorVest US, just something extra I wanted to show you. If you like what you've seen today and you want to start doing this yourself, so you want to jump into VectorVest, let's say you come into Australia and you say, you know what, I want to grab my ETFs by RT times CI so I can start finding these opportunities. And then you might say to yourself, well, I'm not seeing too many opportunities. Well, then what you can do, and I've just clicked on my VectorVest icon. If you take it a trial, you can get access to all this as well. So you can go, well, let's have a look at Canada, Europe, UK, in Australia. So you can look across all the different countries. But there we are. So you can then start to identify those opportunities. So if you did want to take it out, jot that down, vectorvest.com.au/HT. It stands for Hot Topics. All right, so that's to take a trial. I'll leave it at the end as well. What I'm going to do here is and it's a really good special at the moment to take it a trial. We're only going to leave it open for a couple of hours. I won't spoil the surprise. If you click on that link, you'll see there's something quite special there. I'm going to come back into America because I want to show you a ETF that is pretty harrowing and amazing at the same time. All right, so if you've bought and sold this, you know what I'm talking about. This is a triple leveraged, and again, not everyone's cup of tea. Do speak to your advisor. I can't advise whether it's suitable for you or not. This is a triple leveraged ETF I believe on the NASDAQ 100. So as the NASDAQ 100 stocks surged, this was designed to try outperform a threefold. Of course, as the NASDAQ 100 has fallen away, it has gone down at a massive rate of knots. So if the NASDAQ 100 picks up again, and of course, certainly at some point, stuff can't go down forever. You know, the NASDAQ top 100 companies, they certainly can't go down forever because, well, that would be effectively the end of a lot of things. So at some point, who knows when, but at some point it'll bounce, and this TQQQ could potentially provide an amazing opportunity like it did when the NASDAQ 100 was running. So the NASDAQ 100, you can see here, it went from a price of about $10 all the way up to what was a high point of 85. So, you know, eightfold over that time period, over 1 year and 8 months, went up 800%. All right, so, you know, there's a lot of VectorVest subscribers at the moment sitting on the sidelines saying, great, please go down another 50, 60% because when it turns, it's going to be a potential opportunity to consider. So using that layout, CI and RT, you're certainly not seeing that opportunity at all at the moment. Look, that CI sitting well below 1, it cut below 1 here, so no opportunities just yet. So for me, for example, I'm sitting here watching it going, great, go down another 40, 50%, because I know the further you fall down, potentially the more explosive that rebound will be at some point, and I'll only consider for myself, please, again, not advice, speak to your advisor. For me, I'm only interested when the CI comes back above 1 along with the RT. If you're more aggressive, you might say, well, I'll wait for the RT to start trending up before CI breaks above 1, but that's using that technique I'm demonstrating here today a lot more aggressively. Okay, and just last thing I'll leave you with here, and this was quite eye-opening. We did some back testing on this a while back. We have our online investment club each month with VectorVest, and we do a lot of testing of certain ideas and presentations and whatever have you. And this was a back test that I put together where I stress tested based on entry and exit signals. And I'm not going to get into all that today, but you can see effectively it run about 50% of the times just simply trading the TQQ in and out. And even though it's been quite heavily sold down, you can see here over the last couple of years it amassed 4,000% along annualizing 337 and the compounded at 35%. Now, I'm not saying go out and do the strategy. It's a highly specialized, risky type strategy, and you certainly wouldn't put a lot of money into this type of strategy. But it was just interesting for academic purposes when we tested this. We turned, I think it was 5,000. Was it $5,000 or $10,000? It was $5,000. We turned $5,000 into, right now it's sitting at 213,000. It did peak at one stage up there at over 500. It was just shy of $600,000. So if you're interested, come along to the investment club. We talk about these things. We can show you the settings that we set up to do this type of backtesting. So, it's just interesting, the world of ETFs, TQQQ. This one here can be incredibly volatile, and can you tame it using the VectorVest backtesting tools? This was one such strategy. It's not perfect. It had a maximum drawdown of 70%. Means that most it's lost from a peak to trough cycle. That's gut-wrenching. If you can tame it and bring that drawdown down to maybe 20%, but still keep those returns, But hey, if you start off with 5,000, I guess it's not the end of the world if it didn't work out perfectly. So anyway, food for thought. Come along to the VectorVest Club, see what we do. Come along, join up, take out a subscription, take out a trial. You can trial VectorVest for a couple of days there. So I'll leave it there. I hope you got a lot out of the world of ETFs. This was just one take. I didn't get into a lot of the theory behind ETFs because there's plenty of presentations on the theory. I wanted to give you an absolute hands-on approach today to using ETFs. All right, so I see Richard asked a question there. Have you created a uni search to find the relative ETFs and shares? It's something we're working on at the moment, Richard, but I enjoy eyeballing them. The RT and the CI is per the technique I showed you today. That's the one I prefer, but absolutely in VectorVest, you can generate a search that does a lot of that for you. All right, so hope you enjoyed the presentation today. Take it a trial. If you're not a subscriber already or haven't heard of VectorVest, and see what you think. Do those techniques I showed you today. All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks again. Hope you got a lot out of it. Bye for now.